adopt it all at the same time at the next meeting.
Councilman Joe.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Upon the building official?
Not right now. Oh, well, if it's a relationship to what you're looking for
But
reports,
I
yes.
have to
Yes.
know where we stand as contract wise to see if we can add the building official here.
Yeah.
So,
So, Mayor, if, where do we stand, with the building official and contract, so that way, we can be able to get a report back, and be able to have a dialogue and discussion about moving Penny Hill forward or other projects forward, or if they could help us, being that we need to be able to help our community and our citizens with updates, and being that that is what the building official is for, on helping us try to move forward, how do we go?
if by building official, I think you're referencing the 5,000 or so a month that we discussed with Bureau Veritas handling?
Yes, sir.
Okay. As I recall, council, correct me if I'm wrong, when the actual fee came up, because when council first approved it, we weren't sure of the dollar value till Bureau Veritas got that back to us. And then we were working, I think, on a 2-month trial or something, but it had to be incorporated in the contract, and I guess the lawyers are involved in that, so that's kind of where we are. Otherwise, I mean, if council just says go, I can call Bureau Veritas tomorrow and
Right.
tell
I
them
don't
let's
want
get
to have a
started.
conversation, I don't want to have a big
I'm not
conversation
having a
about this.
conversation about the contract, but we did ask that in the contract state that it was 2 months. But I'm just saying so being that we're asking for it to be 2 months, would it suffice for us to put that on the agenda, so that way whenever you do process the paperwork, the following meeting, they could come back and give us a report?
No problem. Mhm.
So,
Yeah, Councilman
That
Hill.
would be building permit.
all right, so that would be a category of its own, I would presume, or?
Well, yeah, so you're talking about different things right now.
Right.
I think Councilman Rowland's talking about just monthly reports that y'all get on a regular basis, and so Bureau Veritas or whoever your I'm sorry, I'll shut up until.
No, you're absolutely correct.
Okay.
So not to shut up, but like correct on the report. So under Public Works, building official falls under that. Now, if we want to break it out, if you look at number 2, monthly building permit report, number 8, any building service inspections, those are things that are processed by that person. I just put it's just under that category of Public Works. So if you want to break it out specifically, we can do that, but I just have.
And I would say no. I would say that what Councilmember Rowland has done is given you a listing of these are the types of things that you could request. And you could actually put monthly building permit report on there where the building official comes to the city on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, or however y'all, maybe if it's quarterly, might be more efficient or financially effective, where they say, here's the building permits that have been issued, here's what here's what they were for. Now, you can't get into a discussion about any specific particular building permit, but you can have a broad discussion about, the permits issued and the process and things like that. And then on number 8, any builder service inspections, that's where a council member would go, you know what, on the next agenda, I'd like to, and I hate to say the dirty word, but you know what, I'd like to have a discussion about building permits issued for Panther Hills. And that's where that specific, very specific issue would come up, but a council member would have to request it.
Okay, Councilman Joe.
I move that we accept, approving an ordinance for departmental reports, then with the attorney bringing us back the policy.
Yeah, we can do that.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that council approve the
Yeah, it's not approving the ordinance, just accepting it as it's written. I'll bring
Accepting
it back for
ordinance.
final approval at the next meeting.
incorporating departmental reports. You've heard the motion, ready for the question.
I read this. So, Councilman Rowland, so if we have anything we may want to add or take away, just correspond with you.
Yes, please, and then me and Attorney Zach will kind of get it together for the next meeting, but yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other unreadiness?
Call for question.
I've got a point of order, maybe a point of information. Economic development, we've been told by at least 2, maybe 3 city attorneys that council cannot require them to come more than their 1 annual meeting to present the budget. And I'm just saying that so that in case this is a case, it's not incorporated into the resolution or the corresponding vote. What's your take on that, Council?
So I don't, there's nothing in the law that talks about how often.
Well, that's what they refer to. They refer to
Well, let me say this.
okay,
This is what, I'm your attorney now, so I'll tell you what I think the law is.
okay,
If the city council wants to request that the Economic Development Corporation, either the president or secretary or the executive director, whoever, come give a report to the city council, they can request that. If the Economic Development Corporation chooses not to do so, then the city council can say, fine, we'll just replace those folks with someone who will do that, because that's how the law works.
Call for the question.
all those in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Item 4, discussion and possible action on the resolution for City Council establishing a policy and procedure in regard to the payment and reimbursement of travel and training of city council members. What's the council's pleasure? Councilman Jones?
Attorney Z and Councilmember Wendy Williams. Last meeting, there was a policy that we had in front of us, but Ms. Williams had reached out to you about some issues.
So I think there was some confusion, yeah. So I think there was some confusion. You had already adopted the exhibit to go with the resolution.
Yes, sir.
You just needed to adopt the resolution. Ms. Williams wanted some changes made to that with respect to who the individual was who was responsible for the overseeing of that.
Instead of it being the mayor pro tem?
And it's in the instead of the mayor pro tem.
So who is
And so
it now?
that's in the resolution. So what I did is, I changed this to say that, I'll tell you. Whereas the city council finds it is appropriate for the mayor or his or her designee, the policy administrator, to serve as the administrator for city council travel and reimbursement policy. And so it would either be the mayor or who the mayor designates, which makes sense from your charter perspective, because your charter says that the mayor is the chief administrative officer of the city, and you have a treasurer and a finance director that works under the mayor. So that, from a policy perspective, it seems to make sense.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Rowland?
the issue I have is that because this policy is related specific to city council, I think it should be the mayor pro tem, and I don't know why it was changed after we adopted it. And
Well,
so
you
I don't-
haven't adopted it yet.
No,
We didn't.
You did not adopt this yet.
We didn't
okay,
adopt.
so we,
I was asked by Councilmember Williams to bring back a change because she felt it would be more appropriate to have the administrative officer, so I made that change. It's your decision to do it. I will tell you, though, that the mayor pro tem does not have any administrative authority with respect to the day-to-day activities, other than when the mayor, under the charter, refuses to act or is unable to act. I would be hesitant to give administrative authority to the legislative body, but it's your call.
my question would not around mayor pro tem or whoever. My question should be, why wouldn't it be the city secretary? So I'm
Y'all can
trying.
do that.
Right, so
But-
my, the city secretary is the one who is the official keeper of minutes and records.
I know, but doesn't that fall underneath city administration?
Yes, it does.
No,
I'm asking.
the mayor does not, so if you just look at our process, the mayor is the chief administrator, but the mayor is not administrating any travel for anybody. And so I'm just simply saying that the person who currently does it, which is the city secretary, that we give it to the city secretary.
Okay. All right.
Councilman Jones?
This is a financial oversight, so I don't know if it might be better for your, who's the finance director, or what, do you have a treasurer?
You know who wants that?
You wouldn't start.
This shouldn't be that.
So, Council, who falls underneath city administration?
Everything. Well, not me, not your city.
So I'm saying if the mayor, in reading those terms in which it is written, if the mayor can't do it, then who does it?
Well, the mayor is the chief administrator, and so then the mayor is responsible for hiring those individuals for his administration to do the finance jobs, the public works jobs, and all of those.
Okay, so, currently we have a city secretary, from my understanding, so Ms. Johnson from what I understand, would be our new treasurer, so would that fall under her?
If y'all decide that you want the treasurer to do it, then
Yeah,
yes.
we,
If you decide you want the city secretary to do it, then it would be the new city secretary.
and we haven't,
Okay.
I don't know if we feel comfortable in getting to that point because council hasn't seen or read or anything upon who our city, secretary would be, but being that Ms. Johnson is in that spot right now,
Can I'm sorry, Councilmember, I wanted to, because y'all have a charter, so I was just going back and reading your charter to make sure. So this is what your charter says about city secretary. The mayor with city council approval shall appoint a competent person as city secretary and such assistance as the city council shall deem advisable. The office of the city secretary shall give notice of council meetings, shall keep the minutes of the proceedings of such meetings, and shall authenticate by his or her signature and record in full a book kept and indexed for that purposes. So those are the specific duties given to the city secretary under the charter. The next sentence says that, such purpose, and perform such other duties as the mayor shall assign to him and her, and as those elsewhere provided in this charter and the laws of the state of Texas. So the council doesn't have any authority to give any specific duties to the secretary. It would be the mayor that would give those duties to the secretary. And otherwise, the duties, and I'm sorry, I keep pointing at you, Ms. Johnson, because I know that you're not going to be city secretary for much longer. Y'all couldn't give any more duties or responsibility as a council to the city secretary. The mayor has the authority to do that, and he or she would have the responsibilities as listed in the charter otherwise.
but as of now, whenever we book traveling and things of that such, she,
Again, that's why, that's why I made the change.
Being that we're not fully staffed, I'm asking the question based upon who would be that person?
I think, I don't think you appoint a person, you appoint, the mayor would appoint a position, says this position is responsible for this responsibility. That way, when the person changes, the responsibility doesn't change.
Which is why we're saying the city secretary has
Right.
always been the keeper and been that person. The mayor
But it's,
is always the figurehead and the chief administrative person, but he is not dealing with the day-to-day. So.
Actually, that's incorrect. There's not one piece of travel that like, for example, you're booking travel now, and me and Ms. Johnson are involved with that travel, so I am involved in that travel.
Yes,
And I've received emails from you regarding travel.
And
so
I have communicated with you specifically on travel, but I think this resolution is speaking to the mechanics of it, not what you're talking about, the mechanics that a council person would need to go to and who they need to respond to. Yes, we would get copy you and get approval to travel from you, but the person who deals with the day-to-day of what the resolution is asking for would be the city secretary, and which would come back to you.
Actually, this resolution is speaking to, in regard to the payment and reimbursement of travel, not approval, the payment and reimbursement, and I do approve all the checks that come through the city.
For clarification, council, could you read it one more time for me? The
City
line.
secretary?
No, the line that which was changed in the,
Yeah, so originally it said Mayor Pro Tem, and now it says, whereas City Council finds it is appropriate for the mayor or his or her designee, the policy administrator, to serve as the administrator for a City Council travel and reimbursement policy. And so you've adopted the policy.
which the
already.
mayor pro tem couldn't serve as.
No, I don't think that would be appropriate. It's a legislative position, not an administrative position,
Okay.
and I don't think it would be appropriate.
All right, cool. So I move that we accept the policy the way it's written. The ordinance. I move that we accept the resolution for city council establishing a policy and procedure in regard to the payment and reimbursement of travel and training of city council members.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. The council approve the resolution for city council establishing a policy and procedure in regard to the payment and reimbursement of travel and training of city council members. You've heard the motion, ready for the questions.
Question.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed have the same right.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Item 5, discussion and possible action on an ordinance for permits on clearing land. Councilman Rowland.
Council,
Now, Ron, is there any additional information upon which provided to us?
yes.
There is?
Yes.
All right.
So council has the ordinance before you. I have met, Attorney Zach, I did meet with, engineering firm and got some information, from one of the firms that we've used already. One of the main things, it just says that, it says that, I don't know if you want to print a copy or, it says, would y'all like for Mr. Smith to print a copy or?
It should be in your packet.
Okay, yes, all right. We have this document that's in our packet. The attorney, I mean, not the attorney, the engineer just says that the city of Prairie View, the engineering firm, not the engineer, is experiencing new development requests due to regional growth in Waller County and from a rapid growing student enrollment at Prairie View University. The city recognizes the growth trends and the needs for additional infrastructure to support this new growth and development. The new growth and development has the potential to create land disturbance issues. Trilogy performed a high-level initial review of section 7.1 land disturbance, which is the document before you. Below are the initial high-level comments. It says the ordinance appears to be a sound approach towards attempting to address land disturbance issues. There does not appear to be clearly defined penalties in the event that a current ordinance is not followed. And that was one of the things that we had talked about. There's no penalty in it, and we want to talk about adding those. And I have some language from the city of Sealy and Meadows Place that has also some language. The other thing it says that when compared to other similar ordinances in cities across Texas, other ordinances are more detailed specifically regarding the need for an engineering study to evaluate drainage calculations and performing floodplain management reviews for property disturbed in floodplains. And so again, I guess that would be his recommendation to put those in there. Other variances are the various size of disturbed land that require submitting a permit. A more detailed evaluation of the ordinance should be considered. And so with that, again, part of this conversation is just us moving this, right? Because we're all seeing this for the first time. Well, not seeing it for the first time, but the city didn't have this policy. And so we're trying to just continue to move it forward.
I'll let it go.
So can I say thank you, Councilmember Rowland, for getting that review, because those are the things that, I'm not an engineer, so I couldn't I mean, the penalty stuff, I need to make sure to get in there, but the other stuff, I'm not an engineer, so we would need them to put that type of stuff in this ordinance.
Councilman Wallace?
Yeah, so piggyback off of that, I remember last time we talked about this, was I know you recommended for some of the specific things that an engineer needs to look at it. So from your standpoint, Councilman Rowland, what specifically, I mean, 'cause I thought we generally accepted the ideology behind everything. It was just a specific, so what specifically were you trying to highlight?
So that's what we just discussed, the things that we need to add. So this is the general concept and consensus of what he has so far. And our attorney thought it was good, but he thought that we should get a third eye to look at, which is an engineer.
Right.
And so the engineer gave him some things that would make this go from good to great, than just adding it of the penalty and the floodplain and all those different things. And so that's what the things he needs to add to this ordinance.
So that, other than that, so that's what he was asking for.
Right, and so then I have a question for the council and Councilmember Rowland. I guess what we need to do is figure out the best approach to get those things that they recommended, because I don't think it would be efficient for me to try to do that. I think it would be more efficient if you had, approval for whoever looked at it to come up with the appropriate language to include in this.
That's where we're at, and that's So where we're at is you drafted this, we've talked about it. I have this letter. The goal would be to get the mayor and council to approve Trilogy, looking at the language that needs to be added in here, because again, a firm is not just going to give you the intellectual. He said if you wanted something more detailed, you would have to do that.
I got a question. Did you bring an invoice to ask how much would that cost?
No, I didn't. Again,
All right, so.
he didn't give an invoice.
All right, cool. Well, do you have a ballpark estimate of how much something of this caliber would be?
Again, I don't think I don't have it in a ballpark. I'm pretty sure the mayor has already,
I mean, because I would like to assist, but it's hard for us to do that with no ballpark number.
So we can't take action on it today anyway, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't, because,
We could have some arrangement.
but you can give direction to the mayor to give this to whoever the current interim city engineer or.
It's the same firm.
Same firm, to have them include the language to actually have them include the language they believe is appropriate and have it brought back for your approval.
You
And,
don't have to approve the expenditure,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm assuming,
right?
I always hate to do that, but I assume that you have a budget that for general engineering,
No,
that
we
can
don't.
come out of?
So JJ, so this is the part
All right,
of why we're here on
Okay.
in the agenda. We want to find out, JJ, how much money do we have available? Because we want the mayor, we want the mayor to be, the mayor to execute on this. Last time the mayor said he was going to do that. I think he did reach out to Trilogy, but again, the mayor can do this. All he has to do is say, give it an invoice and say, okay, that's not too high, and approve that. But that's the action we want to take. But I guess JJ needs to give us.
Well,
you'd have to give us a mayor.
So,
Y'all can authorize it and authorize the mayor to figure out appropriate funding mechanism and bring that back with it.
yeah, but let me just say
Councilman
this.
Randall,
so,
At the last
so
meeting-
my understanding of what you just said is if the funding is available, we can take action today to make it an action item for the mayor to take care of this and bring it back to us in the next meeting without we don't
Not
have.
anything else.
So what would that look like as far as
motion.
verbiage, terminology?
Motion, oh, sorry.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman, well, hold on, we've got, Councilwoman Williams has her hand up.
I would also ask, that we take into consideration while doing this ordinance to make sure the verbiage and the wordage does not affect the people that are farmers in this community, because they have different ways of clearing property as well as getting ready for different crops that they have to.
Yes, ma'am, and that's already in
It's
there.
already in there.
Okay.
Okay, Councilman Rowland.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we give Mayor Allen the authority to enter into a contract with Trilogy Engineering to get a more detailed assessment on the land disturbance ordinance.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that the mayor be allowed to enter into a contract with Trilogy Engineering to incorporate the necessary language into the ordinance. You've heard the motion, ready for the question?
Already. Just a clerical correction on the first paragraph of the ordinance. It still says we live in the village of Orlando.
It sure does, and y'all do not.
We do not live in the village of Orlando.
But with necessary corrections, go ahead.
I just wanted to get the number from JJ. How much?
Yeah, okay, remember last week, last council meeting, you had 10,000, but y'all used that 10,000 for the Veritas 2-month contract for 5.
So,
Yeah.
we had.
Which has not been implemented as yet, so those funds should still be there.
That's still there, right?
Okay.
So I'm just saying, y'all,
But
Yeah, we can't get funds from nowhere else.
yeah, we get funds.
I'll get with you and we'll see, and I'll work with Trilogy and we'll try to keep
Call for the question.
All those in favor say aye.
just
Motion passed.
Just one last thing, wherever we get that money, can we make sure it's documented and communicated back to the council, wherever those funds are.
Next council reports, Councilman Rowland.
Again, citizens, it's always an honor to serve this community. Again, the Boy Scouts meets on the first and third Wednesday here in this building at 7 o'clock. Please come out and support. I just want to thank a couple people who've done some tremendous things for our Scouts. So first, we had a board review here last month. I want to thank Judge Alexander, who sat on that committee, Marshall Brown, Ms. Gwen Carter, Attorney Lee Van Richardson, and Dr. Steve Smith. So again, thank you, citizens, for supporting our Scouts. Second, we had our Court of Honor yesterday where we had several Scouts who advanced in ranks and merit badges. Thank you for continuing to support the Scouts in the Prairie community. Again, it's always an honor and privilege to serve. Again, continue to go to TML meetings, HGAC meetings to represent our city. We always need to have a voice heard. So when many people talk about travel and all these things, while many other people may be at work, the city's not being represented. And so I just happen to have a job or a company where I can get off. So again, thank you for allowing me to serve.
June 28th, 29th, Hustle Sports Football Camp, Waller High School, free for all young, I don't even say young men because we had a girl that participated in the camp last year. So anybody who likes football, come out between the ages of 5 and 13. Free, Waller High School, we feed the kids twice. This year we're gonna give out some school supplies. So our camp is more than about football. It's about teaching them about life, and it's about using a game to teach life lessons. So if you have an individual who's interested in football, please bring them to the camp. Also, if you're a member of an organization you would like to make a donation, we are fielding donations so we can afford to be able to do all of the things that we do for them as far as feeding the kids twice and purchasing school supplies and backpacks and t-shirts for absolutely 100% free to the kids. So, yeah, June 29th, 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, Waller High School. Please get your kid registered if you need any information about registration, let me know. Thank you. Hustle Sports. Or individuals. If individuals want to donate, we take all checks, Cash App, PayPal, whatever.
Councilman Joe.
Sorry, I was writing that down. Greetings. I had the opportunity this week to talk to the Waller County Historical Landmark board member. I also had an opportunity to go to Waller County Commissioner's Court a couple times and actually stick around for one of their workshops that I think that would be beneficial and helpful on the direction of the city with trying to see if we can have parks and update our streets. Also found out some key information that it's not too late for us to go into local agreement, so I'm supposed to be getting the paperwork sent back to me to make sure that we filled out the paperwork the correct way, and then she's going to be helping, the county is going to be helping us get on board with getting some of our streets fixed before this year budget cycle ends, which is something that I'll be working on rapidly. I also would like to just state once again that item agenda number 9, it says to discuss and take action on the creation of a Sandra Bland historical landmark. Not to keep the street name Sandra Bland. The Sandra Bland family was promised things besides the street name for 5 years that the city has not fulfilled. And one of those things that has not fulfilled was to do something with that land. And so that's the discussions in which we're starting, the topic in which we're starting to talk about today. So it's not to keep Sandra Bland name a part of the street. Also, another thing I would like to leave on you guys' mind is that the reason I chose to run for political office is because I felt as though, and still feel as though, God placed the calling upon my heart to be a servant for the people and to make sure that I made the best decisions to place people in the right situations and predicament, regardless of the monetary value or the quick gain in which you can see at the moment in time. And so I understand that we're developing fast, but I think we have to keep in mind our citizens and the effect, the longevity and the long-term effect that the decision in which we make today are gonna have 10 to 20 to 30 years down the line, because if we just make decisions of today or as a community today, that could possibly not be there long-term. And I feel like with the direction in which we have kind of gone over the last month or weeks, is a great direction as far as being transparent, holding each other accountable, and being able to have those discussions in which some of our feathers are ruffled a little bit, but it's great to see that we're starting that dialogue rather than not having a conversation at all. So I'd just like to commend City Council and the Mayor upon that. And also, I'd like to say great job, and I'm very grateful for the attorney in which we have, because he actually tries to help us out a lot more than what you guys see behind the scenes. So thank you, and once again, it's always an honor and privilege to serve.
Councilman Williams?
Well, good afternoon. I just wanted to say thank you to our maintenance department for the work that they did a couple of weeks ago with Reverend Williams in Alta Vista, as well as thank Mr. Jackson for his assistance as well with that situation with Reverend Williams. Because as you know, some homes in Alta Vista, for whatever reason, are falling in their backyards. And Reverend Williams' yard just happened to be one of those homes. There's more, but he just happened to be one of them. And I just wanted to commend those individuals for their assistance and for help.
Councilman Wallace?
Well, good evening, City of Prairie. I want to copy Mr. Jones and Miss Wendy Williams' sentiments in terms of, I truly do feel like we're moving in a good direction. I want to once again recognize the mayor and the council for doing good work. Ms. Johnson, the front office, everybody that's taking the time and effort to move our city forward, and even people are here in this room right now, because accountability has to go both ways. So I truly do appreciate that. One thing that me and Councilman Randall been working on is a community engagement board. A lot of cities have community engagement boards because obviously every council meeting they talk about, you know, we need to be citizens first. And so what they do, they have a community engagement board that works together as a team to not only make a strategic plan on how to engage the city, but to give input on the things that the council and city leadership does. So we're in the final stages of that, and we're hoping that hopefully by the end of this month or by next month, that'll be fully in effect so that we can get the citizens in on, you know, giving the input on what we should do to move forward, to make sure that y'all are engaged in the process that we do as much as anybody. Next, I wanted to commend Councilman Rowland for, I went to the Boy Scouts meeting, doing a great job with the young men, listening to them getting their merit badges and moving up in rank is a very inspiring thing. I hope that the Troop 906 continue to do the good work that they do. Also, Prairie Chamber of Commerce had one of their first mixers. It was a great success, had people come out, network, business owners, citizens, and I think that we just need to continue. If you're not already a part of some type of entity within the city, whether it's Economic 4B, going to their meetings, or Prairie Chamber of Commerce, volunteer fire department, just put some time and effort into the city, and I promise the city will get back to you. Also, if